Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to another scene of the Living World of Darkness, Changeling 20th venue. In the scene, we are in Prospect Park in Brooklyn, New York, where sitting at a gazebo, underneath a gazebo, we see our famous diamond-toothed Sheed sitting on one of the benches, waiting for someone that he had at least received a text from to have a meeting with. Somebody he hadn't seen in a while, at least until last night, but given certain events, is at least willing to meet up with them and see what they have to say. So as of right now, he's just sitting there in his business suit, watching as the people go by outside the gazebo, just basically people watching and just watching the interactions and stuff. Whatever alien thoughts are going on in his mind is probably relatively inscrutable, but...
Yeah, so he would have received a text just being like, picnic at Prospect Park, ? Tomorrow at this time. So it's a little bit chilly outside, so Ember's got a nice coat on with faux fur because that's who she is. And she's got a picnic basket with her, and yeah, she'll walk up to the gazebo and drop a small little curtsy just because, again, that's who she is, before sitting down.
I was surprised that you reached out to me, especially after the tumult of last night. Not that I'm not pleased to see you again.
You did say I would have ample opportunities to try and sweep you off your feet, so I thought I should get started early.
Ah, well, no time like the present then.
And she'll start pulling out the stuff from the picnic basket. It's like subs and salad and chips, very simple stuff. But she's also got some nice champagne with her.
Oh.
Because of course she does.
He looks very, very intrigued by all the goodies that are being displayed about. Oh, what do we have here?
Oh, this one has turkey, this one is veggie, and this one is tuna. I wasn't sure, so I brought 3, and I will eat whichever ones you don't like. Then we just have regular chips. I thought about bringing salsa, but that was a bit too messy. And just Caesar salad.
Well,
classy.
Well, I will say it'd be disappointing. You'll probably want to make your choices first, because whether I like something or not, I'll still eat it.
And just to note, as she undoes the salad, it actually looks like some kind of like cranberry pecan salad, because
Gotcha.
That's who she is.
Foxes.
So yeah, she'll grab the turkey sub then and start pouring 2 glasses of champagne. They're not fancy glasses; they're plastic glasses.
Of course. Charles doesn't mind too much. He's getting food out of this. He's totally fine. So he picks up the turkey. He picks up not the turkey, the tuna fish sandwich first before he and gets into that. But before the food actually starts getting, he raises one of the plastic glasses to toast before they.
She'll clink it.
So I'm certain you have an agenda for wishing to speak with me other than sweeping me off my feet.
Oh, not anything too big. I just wanted to it seemed to be a season for proposals, so I wanted to make a sort of proposal of my own.
Ooh. I am intrigued.
Given that I've been, I don't know, very involved with situations in the past couple of weeks, I certainly know everything that's going on, and that makes me very, very happy. So I would like to propose a trade of information.
Well, if you know everything already, I'm not sure what I could give you, but I'm certain I can try. He's, of course, being coy.
Yes. I'm sure there's something I don't know.
Oh, I highly doubt that. Well, fire away.
Before I, well, I have rumors and I have things that I picked up on my own. But before I show you my entire hand, I was going to pose my question to you so you could let me know what sort of information you would require in exchange. It's pretty not surprising. I want to know why Maxine is to be married.
Why is she to be married? Well, for the good of the freehold, or rather the good of at least the barony of Manhattan. That's at least the official buzzword, as it were.
Sure. I'm just curious as to why her specifically.
More specifically, the fact that she made a promise. One end of the deal was fulfilled, and now it's time for her to live up to her end.
Oh, now that is interesting.
I'm sure it'll get around soon enough. It's only a matter of time before she... I'm sure it's only a matter of time before she comes up above ground.
I don't know if she might decide that her new den is more preferable, but I do hope that she's all right.
I am most curious to see how she is taking the news. How her support systems are helping her out.
I assume she didn't know the specific parameters when she made this, given her reaction?
No. And I did my best to be an intermediary, but it's hard to be an intermediary when someone isn't paying full attention.
Of course.
No.
Well, are you interested in rumors, or are you interested in perhaps something about your knight?
Let's go with the second, and let's just officially state that I went with the first.
Of course you did. And she'll just kind of take a sip before, and she'll make it look like she's, putting some more salad on her plate while she's speaking. She'll say, your knight seemed particularly interested in, I don't know if it was me, just because I'm rather alluring, but to be putting on a front of sorts, as nobility is like to do. He is heartbroken. The situation has rather made him feel like his heart has been ripped out of his chest and stepped on, but he, of course, is doing a very good job of trying to hide it.
Oh, of course. It only makes sense. After all, the implications between him and Iona weren't just simple implications.
Oh, no, not at all. But, yes, he... Still curious as to why he seemed interested in speaking with me and learning about rumors. I'm curious as to if he had been told anything about me, but I didn't think I was that popular.
To be fair, he hasn't spoken to me about much on those things. Then again, he doesn't speak to me much about anything. I am his messenger boy, his hand, the one to deliver such wondrous and terrible news, as demonstrated by last night.
I was certainly not surprised at all to hear that Maxine had somehow fallen in with all the politics.
Well, I mean, it seems obvious, right? She's perfectly well built for it. has a cunning head on her shoulders to swim with the sharks.
Oh, I wasn't aware that rabbits could swim.
I'm actually not sure if they do. Maybe that's the reason she's having trouble.
If it helps, he seemed to, your knight, that is, seemed to think that I was rather useless. So nothing has changed in that matter.
Oh, well, that's a shame. The thing is I think he still sees things in a perspective that is very narrow and not quite as broad as I do.
A side effect of the company he keeps, perhaps?
That or the pains in his heart.
Yes, does seem to be affecting him more than he would like to let on.
Well, I think it's your turn to ask, I should say.
Oh, well, I would like... And it looks like she's trying to choose her words carefully because she knows that, limited amounts of questions.
I only have as many questions as I can give you information on. That's true.
Right, and she doesn't, so she'll think about that. I did hear something about the Queen not being as happy about the commoner barony. Does that have anything to do with this political marriage?
To be honest, I have no idea. This is honestly the first I've heard about it. To be fair, my knowledge of politics has to stems from what's going on in Manhattan and a few other things outside of it, like the Bronx, but that's simply only through Maxine. But aside from that, I honestly don't know anything about the idea of the any issues that or any disillusions of things. I would say the Queen was unhappy about a great many things. What exactly, though, is hard to say.
Right.
So I think rumors then.
Rumors then about, well, I just gave away one of them. That she is perhaps looking to do away with the commoner barony.
Well, as I said, no information on that, so we'll call that a neutral stalemate. No information to give. Rumor I haven't heard, but I have no basis of information to give on that one, so we'll call that stricken off the record.
Seems fair.
So then I guess another question on your end then.
I do. It does seem a bit against my nature, but I do want to know if you were actually intending on marrying her.
To be honest, the only reason people believe we were being married was because I'm wearing a ring and they make assumptions. And I'm under no obligation to change their opinions on what they see.
Understandable. The other bit of juicy gossip then is that the Aileel Baron might have had something to do with the unfortunate demise of our dear Countess.
Really? Do go on.
Oh, nothing. People aren't very specific when they're intoxicated. But there has been more than one patron, I should say, who seems to believe that there was at least some involvement from the Eilil house.
Fascinating.
I, of course, can't do a lot with that information, but you are in a better position than I.
For sure, and that is very interesting information that to know. Whether it's true or not will have to merit some form of investigation. I'm assuming you couldn't tell me exactly who it was you spoke to on these allegations?
Oh, that wouldn't be fair.
Of course not. They were intoxicated. They didn't know what they were talking about.
Precisely. It wouldn't be professional of me either. I have a reputation to maintain.
Well then.
But even if it is false, that's perhaps even more interesting.
Indeed. And it could still be very useful depending on how it's spun. So then I guess you have another question for me.
Oh, well, I do believe I have satisfied with the information that I have. I was most concerned with the well-being of Maxine. And now that I have secured that, I would rather just like to enjoy this rather nice day.
He sort of takes a look around. I mean, there's definitely some frost. It's cold. It hasn't like heavily snowed or anything like that. But there's still some small patches and stuff as you're looking out at it. So, imperfect in comparison to how it's like there. When the snow falls happens, it's none of these mismatched patches. Even if it is patches, it's adds to a sereneness, a sort of subtle quality that you can't quite fully fathom. Here, though, it's almost garish in some things, where there's patches here, footprints there, and these children just building snowmen. And yet, at the same time, it's still very fascinating just to see, even in this imperfection, that beauty within it. A flawed diamond, in a way.
And it's fun to see people fumble around trying to figure out what they should wear, given the unpredictable nature of the weather here. You'll see people in shorts in the middle of a snowfall, or you'll see people bundled up when it's 60 degrees.
It is quite fascinating. It's my first winter here. Not Charles's first winter, though. Mine. It's quite fascinating seeing those memories of what it's like. Seeing and actually experiencing it, it's very different.
Fond memories, receiving presents, playing in the snow.
Yes, presents received for the promise of being good little boys and girls. Such a fascinating concept. And if you were to break that promise, you get coal. Charles never got coal, though. He was even when he was naughty, so I'm not sure how binding those promises actually were.
I don't suppose it's a completely binding contract.
Still, it's fascinating.
I would watch out for mistletoe if I were you.
Oh, that one's far more binding, is it?
Yes, it would seem so.
Well, he sort of like rolls an eye up for a moment and, oh, I see what you mean. That's fascinating. Very interesting. Well, oh, that was something else I was going to say. I hope that the delay in our date hasn't put you off on anything on that event. Obviously, our lives have gotten a bit tangled up, but I managed to reschedule the reservation, and there's still another opera coming up, so we will still have that opportunity.
That is good to hear.
Mhm.
I will try to contain my sadness at the delay.
Oh no, please spill it all out for me. I understand it's been a long term of suffering.
And not knowing of whether the marriage was real or not was just eating away at my very soul.
I know, I can see it. You're just so emaciated at the bones, even as we speak.
Hardly enjoy Thanksgiving.
Ah, that was also very interesting. My first Thanksgiving, too. It was interesting that one was supposed to be thankful of so many things, and yet that's not what the theme was around that day. Things to be thankful for, and yet the whole thing came down to things that were needed. I feel like that spirit of that day has been corrupted. Like a
Oh,
poison
absolutely.
seeping into it. I learned about Black Friday on the drive back up. How people would just leave in the middle of the day dedicated to being what they were thankful for. And even then, our poor Maxine wasn't even happy, satisfied with what she had. She had to ask for more. Such a sad day. Its meaning polluted and corrupted.
If it restores any of your faith in humanity, the Tuesday afterwards is called Giving Tuesday.
Well, that is wonderful to know. Still, it's a bit sad that a day that's supposed to be, that by its definition is about to be what it is, that it's not enforced. That word just has lost its power. It's lost its meaning. Sorry, I didn't mean to make this all very morose or anything like that. I just, it's just something that I had going on in my mind.
I do hope your cynicism doesn't ruin Christmas or the New Year for you.
Well, there's another thing. Christmas is supposed to be about giving, and, well, I'm not sure what and it's so weird. A day of altruism is what it's supposed to be, and yet at the same time, it's also another thing about possessions and stuff. What is it about these days that are all about gifts and possessions and adorations and commercialism?
I suppose it's a conspiracy to get us to spend more money.
I'm not sure how much you actually believe in that. Next, you're going to tell me the moon landing was faked.
Oh, it wasn't faked, but the missions to Mars were.
Ah, of course. I mean, how silly would it be to believe that we could even get close to the asteroid field? He's looking at, and he's actually like looking up at the sky, at the gray sky and clouds and stuff, for one, almost like trying to pierce the veil of them.
If you want to go stargazing, you would have to travel a bit farther outside the city.
He's almost, I mean, it's not that he didn't hear her, but he just seems lost in something.
Sure.
He's looking up at that. He goes, once I could sing the song of the stars. I could make them dance and see them. I could walk on them step by step. I could whisper to the moon, and its phases would change just for me. Those words I lost now. I lost so much. What would I give to be able to sing for the stars again?
You covet things just as the humans do.
Not necessarily covet, or I'm aching for what I lost, what I had. Everything made sense once upon a time. But I'm afraid it wasn't a happy ending. And yet, there wasn't an ending. It's still going. And I'm still suffering its misery, its pains and pangs. I know it's a direct question, but I'm going to do it anyway. How do you manage it? How do you feel like so much more than everything else around you and yet still be confined by this bureaucracy of iron, by this gray sky and world? How do you manage every day, knowing how much more you can be and become, or once were, be smothered by everything else around you?
Well, the alcohol certainly helps.
Oh, I should be drinking then. Well, clearly I haven't had enough. He says he pours himself another bit of the champagne.
Perhaps I should have brought something stronger.
Perhaps so, but you know what? This will do just fine. But why don't you elaborate further?
And she'll kind of take her own glass, and she's just sort of dragging a finger along the rim. She looks thoughtful. I don't concern myself with the potential of myself specifically. I'd rather focus on the potential of others. Whether that's selflessness or some sort of deep-seated need to feel morally superior, who can say?
I think only you will know that question, the answer to that question. Maybe one day I'll understand, I'll know for sure. But we'll see.
I do think it's time for dessert.
Oh.
Nothing fancy. And she'll take out, he's got these 2 cupcakes. They're vanilla with, they're chocolate with vanilla icing.
Ooh.
And they look simple, probably homemade, probably from like a box mix, but still not store-bought completely.
Not completely. Only the most important parts. Yes, got it. All right. Oh yeah, he's looking at this. It's like, it's like stained glass window eyes are just dancing with what light there is in this place as he brings up the cupcake. Cheers.
To the to potential.
To unending potential.
Think.
Mmm. Oh, this is most delightful. So cloying and sweet. And yet rustic.
I can't quite tell if you're speaking of me or the cupcake.
Oh, couldn't it be both? Well. I'm sorry we don't have as much time to speak with each other on these matters and such. Unfortunately, as much as this lunch has been delightful and I would like to do nothing more but to stay here, I'm afraid that there's a rabbit I have to ferret out.
I do recall reading something about foxes and rabbits, but I can't quite remember what it was.
Well, if what I've been told has been to believe, everyone tries to find salvation or some solace in a church, and I have been told I am a church puka. So, perhaps I can pull a St. Francis and maybe she'll come to me.
I want to do a quick perception empathy. Specifically about intentions towards Maxine.
Of course.
It's just one.
Just one. It surprisingly doesn't seem malicious.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, that is important. Aside from that, it's a little unclear what he might be intending, but it's definitely not malicious, which is the most important bit about that.
Yes. So, yeah, she'll nod. I was considering ordering some sort of box to her apartment, perhaps with, I don't know if something with veggies in it would be too on the nose, but that's a little bit who I am.
To be fair, as her biffle, I will tell you that vegetables would be the most preferable thing. That's what she eats. Nothing else.
I didn't assume she would feel like cooking very much after attending such a sad party.
Well, if you wish, if you do wish to get her something, I can always deliver it.
Would be wonderful. How kind.
Well, if anything, I will make sure that she knows it was from you, and hopefully at least will be a gateway to us having a good conversation.
Just let her know that I'm concerned with her well-being. I'm concerned with most everyone's well-being.
I will make sure the message is passed along.
It's much appreciated.
Well, unless it's before, unless it's, well, I think at this moment, then I guess it's time for us to take our leaves. I hope I'll see you again before our official date, but if not, I look forward to seeing you again.
As do I. Thank you.
Oh, there's nothing to thank me for yet. And I think with that, as they make their way, I think that's where we'll end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, viewers, for watching. And good night, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are. Bye-bye.